You are listening to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR Kutztown. Good afternoon. It's about 1:25 on Tuesday, the 6th of February. Monsoon Mike here. Stay tuned. Coming up at 2 o'clock, it's my show, Monsoon Mike's Melodies. And at 3 o'clock, it's Kutztown Live with Juliana Jablonski and Mike O'Mara. They've got lots of great guests this afternoon. So stay tuned for that. But right now, you are listening to a Kutztown University Radio live extra, I guess you could say. In the studio with me, I have a guy who usually records these things with me, pre-recorded podcasts, and uploaded then to our website. But since we do have some bad weather coming tomorrow morning, we thought we would go live with this one and get it out there as a public service. So I am joined by Kutztown University beloved geography professor and meteorology professor, Dr. Michael Davis. Dr. Davis, welcome to the live airwaves.
It's good to be with you live on the airwaves.
Yeah, you have a very busy day today. You pretty much gave me your schedule off air, so I'm not going to beat around the bush here. We're going to get right to the down and dirty of it. Now we had a storm.
The down and sloppy of it.
The down and sloppy of it, yeah. Now we had a pretty interesting storm over the weekend, Sunday into Sunday, pretty much a Sunday storm, early Sunday into late Sunday, where we had a storm that kind of went to our west. So we got what started as snow, a couple inches, changed to sleet, some freezing rain, and then eventually rain. The storm that we have coming up tomorrow is not too unlike that storm, kind of similar.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole mixed bag of precipitation. We're going to start off as some snow, then transition to some sleet, freezing rain. May get that dry slot that we're looking at about noon or so. Mm-hmm. And then we get back into the ice and freezing rain, sleet, and then transitions back to rain.
Now, just for the folks who always like to ask the hows and whys of how the weather and the atmosphere works, I have some snow fans that are frustrated with me saying, Monsoon Mike, why can't we just get like a nice all snowstorm top to bottom? We all have to have all this slop. Why have the past or the last storm and the coming storm been this messy mixture?
Mostly because of the jet stream.
Okay.
We have pretty much set up on top of us where we have our thermal band pretty much set up across the eastern Pennsylvania region, and we've just been getting the cold and warm air kind of duking it out recently, and that's what's been giving us these mixed bag of precipitation as opposed to straight snow or straight rain.
Right. Okay. And this is a similar situation, and the storm is going to track kind of right over our area. So whenever you have a low pressure that kind of either goes to your west or right over your area, you're going to get some kind of warmer air mixing in there.
Yeah, and typically if this low pressure comes out of the south, it's around the Gulf Coast region, which this one is going to do so, you're going to be bringing up ample moisture, which is then going to lead to heavy precipitation in some area, because further to our north, I believe they're looking at heavier snowfall.
Yes.
Like the Poconos, for instance,
right.
Could see, I was seeing like 4 to 7 inches, perhaps.
Maybe even, I've even seen a couple of forecasts going for 10, but that would pretty much be way north, like almost a New York border, like Binghamton area. You would primarily a snowstorm up there, but even up there, they look like they get some of those pinks even at that far north. So it looks like timing-wise, we're looking at things getting rolling around here in the Kutztown area somewhere, it looks like 5:30 to 6 this Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning-ish.
Yeah, starts in early morning.
Which pretty much is the crappiest timing that you could get for morning commuting. So
yeah, because that's when people are starting to move about, get on with their days, get to work, and so forth, and that's when the heaviest snow looks like it's going to be coming.
Yeah, I mean,
now it is snow; it's not going to be in the form of ice
at that point. So. Right, at that point, it'll be snow and not ice yet. So it's probably a little. It's commutable, but it's some of this. What some of the models are implying is some of that snow could be heavy for a couple of hours, so it could be still very bad driving.
Yeah, we could see inch an hour rate. I'd say maybe 2 inches if everything holds together.
Yeah, and see, that's the tricky part with the storm, because I'm seeing the National Weather Service. Let me see what they're going for in our area. I believe they're being a little bit aggressive with the snowfall accumulation in our area, and I was a little bit confused by that until I looked at the models and I read their discussion.
When I checked this morning, it looked like 3 inches. But they were favoring of 4 inches.
Now, Kutztown, they have 3 to 5 inches possible, and I thought, well, that's a little aggressive, National Weather Service. But then I'm looking at the models, and I guess they're kind of banking on a couple hours of an an inch an hour type snowfall.
Yeah, because the ice looked like it came in about 8, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it looks like about, let's see, that's 15 Z's. That's about
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Southern Berks County about 9 o'clock. Yeah, you're right. And then our area maybe about 10. But there also looks like there's a little bit of a dry slot, so don't be deceived by that. If the precipitation cuts off somewhere around
11 noon. I think.
Yeah, 9, 10, 11 noon, don't be deceived because there's still more to work in. At that point, low pressure is still over just southwestern Pennsylvania, and there's still a whole other swath of precipitation to move through. And when that second round gets going somewhere in the 11 noon range, that could be some pretty heavy ice at that point. Now, here's always the tricky part where you have like the mixed layers of the atmosphere. Are we leaning, we see all that pink on the map, but are we leaning sleet? Are we leaning freezing rain? Are we leaning some combination of both?
That would depend on how thick the actual cold layer at the surface is going to be.
Okay.
Now, from looking at the models itself, with the low pressure being in southwestern Pennsylvania, northern West Virginia,
right.
To me, that's signaling that you're throwing a whole bunch of moisture up just to the right, or the eastern side of the low.
Right.
And it's going to go pretty much up and over that colder air. And because of the mountainous area in the central part of the state, you're going to be having, I think, kind of a mix of both of them, because you're going to have these valleys that are going to create almost these microscale features, which are going to have more in the way of potential freezing rain or sleet, depending on how deep of a cold layer gets set up.
Okay, interesting. So then we get through that, and then it looks like we finally try to flush out all the gunk by about maybe 1900. So that's about 2 o'clock. We should be finally turning over to all rain at that point. Temperature sneaking above 32, and then we go for a couple of hours of rain in the afternoon before ending about early evening-ish.
So to me, it looks like you're going to have some snow, then ice crust get set up, and then rain to start eating it away.
Now, the trick with this storm is, and it's always, I saw the National Weather Service mentioning it and some other people online mentioning it, what's tricky about these kind of storms is even when the map does show green, meaning all rain, there are still certain areas depending on elevation and topography. Like if you find yourself 1,000 feet up in the air, or if you find yourself tucked away in a little valley in northern Berks County, where the temperature could just be a couple degrees below everywhere else, the freezing rain could continue.
Yes, but the point being is you're going to have precipitation at that point.
Right.
And what type you're going to deal with, that could be somewhat of a very localized feature. Where one community could be getting freezing rain, the other community a few miles down the road could be getting snow. Right.
And then all the stuff is out of here tomorrow evening, and then we have a few days of not much going on. Maybe some snow showers again on Friday, and then, well, we'll worry about that when the time comes. So to summarize everything, we have a fairly decent thump of snow coming in around 5:30 Wednesday morning, snowing until about 9-ish, dropping a couple of inches, maybe 3-4 inches before the switchover. Could cut off for a little while totally, but then sleet and freezing rain come back in, and then change to rain early in the afternoon. Not the worst storm that we've ever seen in this area by any stretch of the imagination, but coming at a very, very bad time.
Yeah, and it does exit somewhat quickly, too.
It does. It doesn't mess around. So we don't
have to worry about it lingering and producing more precip.
That's good. That's definitely good. So, but all we can pretty much say at this point is Wednesday morning, probably unfavorable driving, so give yourself a lot of extra time.
I would agree with that statement.
Okay, very good. And we don't get into the business of, people are always bugging me on my page, what do you think about the school's monsoon, Mike? I don't do that. I'm not into that.
That's not for our decision.
It's not for our decision, but let's just say, from our perspective, just expect undesirable driving on Wednesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would say the roads will be less than desirable, I think it's a term we've used before.
Ever since I taught you that one, you like that one. Yeah, that's good. Okay, any other thoughts about this storm or anything else, Dr. Davis?
Depending on where that low goes, it's really going to play a big factor in how much snow, ice, or rain we get.
That's a good point. I saw one meteorologist saying that even just the track of 25 miles difference could mean a lot. If we can get that low a little more to the south, it would be much more keeping that cold air locked in. If it goes a little more to the west, it might be a quicker change over to all rain.
Yeah, I think the further the low goes east, the more likely we are to get heavier snow myself.
Sure. Do you think the chances of that are likely, unlikely, or about neutral at this point, based on the atmospheric setup?
I would probably say there's a fairly good chance of that happening. I might ballpark it saying maybe 30, 40%.
Okay. All right. Well,
that'd be my guess, because I think the colder air that's going to be locked in, say, across the Great Lakes could be pushing a little bit more strongly toward the east.
Okay.
Because of the temperature contrast you're going to have develop there.
Okay.
And I think the high pressure that's coming in from behind is going to be coming in from the south, correct? Not from the north?
Yeah, well, let me get like a big national model on here and get to
because Thursday looks like
picture.
It's going to be a fair day in terms of conditions.
Yeah, high pressure.
I'm more toward the west.
Yeah, high pressure's like over like Nebraska.
So I'm thinking that higher pressure is going to be helping to bring down that colder air and potentially pushing that low further toward the east.
Okay, all right.
But there's still a lot that can happen with the storm, so I'm not overly optimistic of that solution.
Right.
But it's something to keep an eye on, at least.
Okay. And then, if we're going to just go out in the longer distance, it looks like we have some kind of short wave or trough or front or something, some sort later in the week. Could give us some snow showers. And then looks like Sunday we get some just all plain rain with the 540 line way up over Albany, New York. So
it'll help melt some of the ice and snow.
So by this weekend, we'll get maybe some plain rain. And then about fairly average weather after that. Nothing too major. So this might be after this particular storm, we might get a couple of weeks of a break again. So
I do think we're getting close to the heart of winter right now.
No, that's true. It's still far from over. I mean, we still got to go through all of February, all of March, and the long range model still has some stuff happening the end of next week, and it still looks active.
You still get snowstorms in March. So.
Yeah. And since I love weather history, even early April, I think in 1982 there was one around here. So it doesn't, of course, snow that time of year melts very quickly.
Yeah, or even in April too.
Yeah, you could have a 5 inches in the morning and pretty much be melted by the afternoon. But okay, Dr. Davis, you are extremely busy, so I'm going to let you get back to your duties. And thank you for stopping in and doing this special live broadcast with us. And stay safe out on the roads tomorrow morning.
You too.
All right. This has been a special live edition of Weather and Climate Chat. If you missed it live, we will have it podcasted on our website and Facebook very soon. You have a great afternoon. Stay tuned. Coming up, Monsoon Mike's Melodies at 2, Kutztown Live at 3.